Consumer behavior plays an important role in shaping economic landscapes, and one interesting behavior is the concept of doom spending. This term encapsulates a trend where individuals, particularly from the younger generations, like Gen Z, engage in extravagant purchases despite economic uncertainties. Understanding doom spending offers us a unique lens into the psyche of consumers, especially in the face of challenges like an increased cost of living and shifts in the job market. This presentation will focus on the concept of doom spending by using inspiration from a recent article from Straits Times that explored Gen Z and their splurging on luxury goods to soothe their economic despair. About 27% of Americans, particularly 43% of millennials and 35% of Gen Z, confess to resorting to doom spending to cope with economic and foreign affairs concerns. According to Statista, in 2024, Singapore's luxury goods market is forecasted to generate 4,230 million in revenue, showing an annual growth rate of 3.36%. The largest segment, luxury watches and jewelry, is estimated to reach 2,427 million in 2024. We believe that consumer behavior is not merely about personal choices. It's a dynamic force that shapes market trends, influences economic policies, and even reflects broader societal shifts. By unraveling the motivation behind doom spending, we gain insights into how economic conditions intertwine with individual choices. So, what are the factors that affect doom spending? Change in preferences in economic terms refers to alterations in consumer taste and desires for different goods and services. These shifts hold significant consequences, directly impacting both the demand and supply markets. For example, when consumers choose to invest in luxury goods, it influences the demand for such goods. In response, businesses adapt by modifying their production and supply to meet the demand for these preferred items, thereby impacting the allocation of resources within the economy. Charles and Keith, a Singaporean luxury brand, adjusted its production to meet rising demands. They diversified their product range and utilized targeted social media marketing to maintain position in the luxury market. By actively adapting to changing preferences, businesses can ensure they remain relevant and responsive to the needs of their customers. Price plays a crucial role in doom spending, as it directly impacts the quantity of goods demanded by consumers. Price elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in price. It reveals how much consumers are willing to change their purchase quantity based on price fluctuations.
Luxury goods typically exhibit high price elasticity. However, given a strong customer base and loyalty can create a buffer against price elasticity. For instance, for some luxury brands with more brand loyalty, price increases might not cause as significant a decrease in demand compared to luxury goods with less brand loyalty. Despite the rise in prices, it is possible that the demand for these goods might not decrease as significantly.
For some consumers, particularly Gen Z, a brand's value and symbolic meaning associated with luxury goods might outweigh their pure functionality. This inelastic demand stems from factors like brand image, perceived exclusivity, and the desire for social status. Even with rising prices, the perceived worth of owning a specific brand remains high for these consumers. This phenomenon can actually be described as the Veblen effect, which highlights the association of higher prices with exclusivity and social status.
According to Statista, the average age of first-time students pursuing higher education falls between 18 to 27, indicative of them being Generation Zs. Being in college, it is likely that they will be carrying a significant amount of student loan on their shoulders. As such, to combat their limited purchasing budget, students like you and I may partake in part-time or gig jobs, which means during periods of high income, it may drive the impulse to splurge on portion of our income in a luxury good as a treat to ourselves. Now, how many of you would do the same thing? Does this ring a bell? It sounds like something we have learned. Yes, we are seeing the concept of income elasticity of demand. We see how a change in income affects quantity demanded. We see that data that foreign vacation, domestic vacation home, and others above the income elasticity of one, we refer to them as luxury goods. Remember when I said that at high periods of income, individuals tend to splurge and treat themselves? Those spending on luxury goods share the same magnitude as high income allows for a greater quantity demanded for luxury goods and items. Next, what do these doom spenders expect for future prices? Faced with the uncertainty of the future, for instance inflation, individuals may choose to prioritize spending on desired items in the present rather than saving for the future. This intertemporal substitution can lead to increased spending on luxury goods as a way to cope with anxieties or treat themselves in uncertain times. The expectation on the costly prices of these luxury brands in the future may trigger their doom spending behavior. We usually see this in the hyperbolic discounting model termed by the psychologist Richard Herrnstein, which explains how individuals discount future rewards more heavily than immediate rewards. This discounting becomes steeper when faced with greater uncertainty, leading to a preference for immediate gratification, which aligns with doom spending behavior. Moreover, there are certain limitations that we can look at. While economic factors such as income affect doom spending, there are also underlying forces that drive this doom spending phenomenon psychologically. As such, fueling the fear of missing out. FOMO, where Gen Zs are exposed to the distortion of social media influences and content that exhibit luxurious lifestyles, appealing them into wanting to live the same reality. Now, this may drive desires and demand for owning or experiencing luxury goods or experiences that have been brought up in the digital realm. And while many marketing campaigns have shown the effects of increased demand for certain items, deeming social media as a factor to shape consumer behavior remains a complex idea. And this is because social media is constantly evolving and preface traditional economic models may not factor such in. Hand in hand with the change of preferences, price elasticity, income changes, and future price expectations shifts the demand curve from Q to Q1. Ultimately, understanding this can help businesses adapt their strategies and policymakers design interventions to address potential negative consequences of doom spending.
Next, I will be discussing the impact of doom spending based off the consequences of consumer and producer actions. These impacts will mainly consist of the impact on the demand and supply for goods, as well as the externalities created by the situations. When consumers engage in doom spending, the short-term demand for certain products increases. Doom spending can occur in the market for essential goods or luxury goods. This pushes producers to start producing more rapidly to meet the increasing demand, moving the supply from S1 to S2. This increased production may also allow companies to reap more economies of scale through expansion. Companies may have to hire more workers to meet quotas and invest in more machinery to ramp up production. However, the increased demand may strain the supply of raw materials used in luxury goods, leading to price hikes for raw materials and labor shortages leading to higher labor costs. However, the nature of doom spending makes the change in demand temporary and volatile. As producers continue to produce at Q market instead of Q optimal, there is overproduction which leads to surplus instead of shortage. This excess supply may create negative externalities such as water and air pollution, as producers use more energy and raw materials to produce more goods. One real-life example of negative externalities due to doom spending can be seen in the case of fast fashion, where many people buy large amounts of cheap clothing that do not keep them satisfied for long periods of time. These clothes then end up in landfills as seen in the video, bringing great harm to the environment.
This one, on the edge of Old Fatima, the city's biggest slum.
It doesn't look like there's anything wrong with them at all.
Synthetic textiles can take hundreds of years to decompose. This mountain of waste may cast its fetid shadow over these neighbourhoods for generations to come.
In terms of luxury goods, since they do take up a larger portion of individuals' income, consumers may not be able to afford any more luxury goods in the future, which reduces the demand for luxury goods in the long run. This can also result in losses for producers as they may start to produce more of the same trendy products during the surge in demand that they may no longer be able to sell in the future.
Seeing these effects that doom spending has on the markets, what has been done to address them? Previously, there were no particular solutions addressing doom spending. This is because doom spending became more prominent only when it rose in popularity among Gen Zs, particularly in the post-pandemic period. Instead, there was little research carried out. Notable research done by Stephen Wu helps shed light on doom spending since it is related to fatalistic tendencies in people, which can affect the ability of individuals to save. Wu defines fatalism as a doctrine that events are fixed in advance so that human beings are powerless to change them. Doom spending is a similar concept, as people spend their money to relieve stress even when they are faced with the precarity of the economy and foreign affairs. Wu concluded that fatalism does play a part in the saving habits of individuals, where those who believe they have little sway over what happens in their lives have decreased likelihood of saving in the previous year. There were also scenarios where fatalist types believed that they should save, yet ended up not saving as they were unaware of their fatalistic tendencies. From this, we can observe how the fatalist mindset is similar to the doom behind doom spending, and can see how it correlates with the spending habits of people with such a mindset. As doom spending is a trend based on a negative outlook of the economy, there are no targeted policies. However, there have been guidelines put up to encourage individuals to save and have healthy spending habits. One such example would be the basic financial planning guides rolled out by the Money Sense Singapore, the country's financial education program. The guides are split by groups, where each sets out a simple guideline for Singaporeans to adhere to in order to save and spend wisely. The government encourages those between 19 to 29 who are new to the workforce to set aside at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses as emergency funds, and to invest at least 10% of take-home pay. There are also basic guides on the kinds of insurance individuals in their age group should have to ensure protection for their finances. Globally, an initiative for healthy spending habits will be the Global Money Week, a campaign aiming to educate the young to be financially aware and gain the ability to make logical financial choices, which can help them reach financial well-being and resilience. Global Money Week is held from 18 to 24th March this year, with many countries all over the world taking part to reach out to individuals on good financial management. Doom spending has given us great insights into the behaviors of consumers in this day and age, particularly that of the younger generation. It is a sort of fatalist mindset, affected by various demand factors which drives the spending habits of individuals. However, there is still much to be examined, seeing how consumer behavior like doom spending can negatively impact the markets, potentially bringing about further problems for the economies.
Created using Powtoon.